Hello everyone, I'm Annie Gibbins and you're listening to Memoirs of Successful Women, the podcast where you get to hear candid conversations with fascinating women from around the globe who share aspects of their business and life journey, how they measure their success and what they have learned along the way. Hello and welcome to Memoirs of Successful Women. Today I am introducing you to Angela Schutz, who is the owner of Driven to Succeed Consulting. She's all things helping people land meaningful jobs, to be able to dispel that myth that jobs aren't out there. They actually are. And she has helped unemployed people to go from hopelessness to happily employed. And that's what we want to do. We want to love what we do, love the life that we want to live. She is an executive coach. She's a life coach. She's an author. She's also an adjunct professor at Gateway Community College in the US. She's also been featured in Who's Who in America 2021 and Who's Who of Professional Women in 2022. She's also been interviewed by Star Jones, and I want to talk about that today and also talk about all of the books. She's actually in a book that I am writing at the moment in a collaboration with women from around the world called A Woman's Guide to Business Domination. And Angela is already a seasoned author and is going to help me along my way to becoming a successful author. So I'm really looking forward to learning from Angela and sharing her wisdom with you today. Welcome to the program, Angela.
Oh, thank you so much, Annie. This is so much fun. I'm looking forward to working with you on the book. Yeah. And I'm looking forward to tonight and all the things we can help people with.
Fantastic. So tell me and the listeners your story. You were a human resource management executive manager for 11 years, and you've been leading a women's group called Dream, Dare, Dance. And that helps women to somehow create new dreams and dare them to move forward and to celebrate their victories. And so obviously you're all things women empowerment, which is the way that we have linked up. What has been your story through that to actually be this now, international best-selling author of all of these books and being able to coach people about, dreaming big and being able to achieve getting those meaningful jobs that make a difference to them and the life that they live?
Well, like a lot of people, I was in a very negative relationship and felt like I never had a voice. Nothing I said mattered. And then I was very lucky to be chosen by the author Jack Canfield. He was looking to create a train the trainer group, and I was in the first group. I was chosen with 100 people from around the world to be the first group that he trained as trainers of his success principles. Yeah. And when I was in that group, you're with people that are very motivated, that are always out there trying to develop themselves in better ways and help the world as much as they can. And they kept saying to me, you should write a story, you should write a book. And, here you're telling that to someone who feels like she has no voice at all. And so that's how I started writing. I was introduced by another member of the Train the Trainer group to a woman who has a program called Write a Book in a Weekend. And what she does is she schedules calls like every 4 hours. And there might be 500 people on the call. And then you go off for 4 hours and write. And of course, you don't really expect to finish a book in a weekend. But what happens is every time you go off and write, when you come back, you ask a lot of questions and other people ask a lot of questions. And it's so empowering to learn. They're asking questions you should know to ask, but don't. And so that's how it started. So that's how I wrote. And then I have been a career coach for a long time. And I decided the first book that I would write was all about careers. And I was running a job search work team, and they kept asking me questions. So I would jot down the questions, and the book I wrote was Career Questions, Ask Angela, a job seeker's guide to finding the perfect job. And so what I did was I took their questions and I answered them in the book.
Fantastic. Fantastic, which is the perfect position. Sometimes we can get above that and forget the questions of, the person who's at the beginning of that journey, right? So that is actually the perfect time to be writing that. I often tell my children that when they were growing up, I'm like, the way their creative mind worked, I thought you actually should sketch out the outlines, because they've got no inhibitions. They're not thinking, is this perfect enough? Is this good enough? What am I supposed to be doing? They haven't lost their voice yet. They're actually in that moment of, well, this is just what I think, what I feel, the questions.
Curiosity.
And I absolutely love that. So you wrote a job seeker's guide to finding the perfect job, because that's exactly what they were asking you.
And it's so easy, because all the questions are there that are questions job seekers ask. What if my interview is on Dress Down Friday? How do I dress? It's things like that I wouldn't think of as a job coach, but the person going for those jobs thinks of those things. Exactly. How do I handle this situation? Yeah.
I absolutely.
So that's how it all started.
Oh my gosh, but the link there, and there must be an incredible opportunity that, how did you get chosen to be in Jack Canfield's team? Like, how did that happen?
I just went to one of his seminars, and they were talking about wanting to do this, for the first time. He was turning 65, and he said, I want to train people. He has so many, 240 or 250 Chicken Soup for the Soul books.
Yeah.
But his favorite book is called The Success Principles. And if you follow them, they're very simple. Like one chapter simply says, be an inverse paranoid. Get up every day and say, the whole world is plotting to help me. Imagine how you would feel, rather than, oh, they think I'm not smart enough, bright enough, pretty enough, all those negatives that we tend to think, but think the whole world is plotting to help you. So those are the type things, like be 100% responsible for yourself. Can you imagine a world where each of us felt responsible for everything we did? And we cleaned up our messes? I mean, really, think about it. So he decided he wanted to train people to go and do this work. And I sat at this, meeting, and I thought, I really want to do that. And they were going to start, this was in the summer, they were going to start in October. And in September, I said, gee, he doesn't know I'm interested, because I never filled out the application.
Forgot to tell him.
I forgot to tell him. Simple. So anyway, I was interviewed and I was chosen. But the interesting thing about it, that was in 2010. And I'm still so connected with people from around the world that were in that group. Like, it became a family. We were in training for a year, and we became a family. And the work that some of the other people are doing, there's a man in Russia who is like the Jack Canfield motivational speaker in Russia. There's a man in England that has gotten a program to stop bullying in all of the public schools in England. That, people are doing amazing things around the world, and they're people that were in this original program. So it's just fantastic. So that's how it all started.
It is so phenomenal, and I thank you for sharing that story. So for the listeners who often think, will my life change, or can it? It actually can just change by the fact that you filled out the form. The fact that you thought, here I don't even have a voice at the moment, and I don't know if I have much to offer, or will they pick me? And you actually go, well, I'll just be in it. So sometimes you also have to be in it to win it. It's just baby steps, lean forward. And I think that's a classic example. And it really, does show that that was the precipice for you changing, going from that day job to being able to, be the coach that you want to be, start writing books. Once you've done one of anything, it's suddenly, it's always a learning curve, and sometimes it happens over a weekend, and sometimes it can take months or even years, but you learn, and then suddenly you back it up. I was noticing another book that you've got on your list. So you've done a job seeker's guide to finding the perfect job, and then in 2021 you wrote a boomer chick's guide to online dating. You're never too old to look and love. That's quite the contrast, isn't it?
It is. And here she is on her little red Vespa. Getting out there in the dating world.
Yeah. Exactly. So it shows that you're now at this stage, you've also done a gratitude book project. You've celebrated mums and motherhood. You've done a woman's journey, stories of substance, survival and success, a book of joy. You've really, for me, I love looking at that list because it shows me that you're a woman who actually is just in their own space, sort of, being led by where they're at this time. And if it's be valuable to you, it's going to be valuable to other people, but you're not following a recipe. You know what I mean? A lot of the talk is always be on point, nail it, and drive and just stay in one topic. But when I look at yours, it's very much woman empowerment, a woman's journey of evolution. It's the day-to-day. Yes, we want to date and we want to look lovely on our little Vespa. And then we also want to help other people of actually, just get a job and to make things happen. Has that been a way that you have approached your business? Your business is called Driven to Succeed. So has that been sort of the essence? Tell us a little bit more about then how you created your business and why you're so comfortable in your own skin in that way.
So when I went in training with Jack Canfield, I was working for an international outplacement company. And each of the coaches had a caseload of 75 clients. And every month we would get together at the end of the month and talk about how many clients landed jobs. So I'm learning all these things about mindset and, and being, what is it? High intention, low attachment. I'm learning all these things about self-development, and I'm weaving that into the way I coach with my clients. And so all of my colleagues at the end of the month would have 1 or 2 clients that landed really good jobs, and I would have 12.
Yeah.
And I thought, this is Jack Canfield. This is success principles. This is teaching people really to have the right mindset to find a job. This is teaching people how to really appreciate their uniqueness and who they are and what they bring to the table, what they bring to life. And, most coaches weren't doing that. It's like, this is how you write a resume. Yeah. This is how you answer interview questions. But that's all they ever talked about. And so I decided if I could help 12 people land jobs a month, I should do it independently. So that's how the business started.
Oh, I absolutely love that, because that's right. A lot of things are just formula, they're business tips and tricks. So this is how you do a resume. This is how you, practice interview. But it's all about actually connecting with that person, knowing why they actually want that job, how it's going to change their life. What are their fears? What are they going to self-sabotage on? It's a lot more holistic than just doing a course. And that's why a lot of people do a course and then they, did they apply it? No, because they didn't actually deal with the complex things behind, the theory, I suppose. So when you
ask, you go on an interview and the interviewer will say, why should I hire you?
Yeah.
You don't know.
They're like, that's a good question. Why? Yeah, because I filled out the form right and I've got some goods. Exactly. The why and the story and the everyone wants you to connect with what they're loving. I often think about that in a, I'm a CEO, I'm a boss, if you like, and so therefore what I'm the leader of, I champion. It's like a family. It's my purpose and my passion. So therefore anyone coming into that world, I want to know that they're genuine. I want to know that they're authentic, not just skills, so yeah. Fantastic. So your business has grown so much. And then we spoke together on Lady Politico Summit, which was an amazing experience. How did you feel then, even stepping up and starting to talk about, gender empowerment and women in leadership and being more politically focused and actually not shying away from our thoughts as thought leaders on different topics? How was that experience for you?
Well, my whole topic was leadership from the inside out. Because if you don't believe in yourself, nothing you do will lead you through the steps, the actions, the success of becoming a leader. So you have to believe in yourself first. You have to trust yourself first. And so that's what I talked about in my speech, because you can't get into politics. You can't be a female leader in business if you don't believe who you are.
Yeah.
You don't know what do you bring to the table? What's unique about you? And you need to cherish that. You need to be able to step into your own skin, or you'll never be an effective leader. Can we teach anybody leadership skills? Probably. Can we teach anybody charisma? No, you can't, right?
Exactly.
There are certain things, yeah, you can teach people, this is how to be accountable. But how do you teach them to be charismatic? So that people follow you, right? So, and that's what I wanted to talk about, because I knew everybody was going to talk about politics and leaders and leadership and how women are blocked all the time and the glass ceiling and all of those things, which are really important. But you can hand me all of the information about that. And if I don't trust in myself, I can't ever get there.
Yeah.
It's just not possible, right? So that's what I talk about at Lady Politico.
I loved your presentation, and I think it's just, it resonated with me so much, because as a female leader myself, that's exactly it. I'll have done, all of the business training, negotiation training, and leadership and all the rest. But at the end of the day, when something important is going to happen, if I'm going to bring on a new ambassador, if I'm going to create a new campaign, people actually want to know that I'm authentic and that they're connecting with me, that I can show up, in a different way, in my own way, because it actually isn't just a job. It isn't just something you're saying. You're not just selling something. You're just seeing something more. And I think all leaders actually have that. Someone who wants to go, you know what, I want to follow this person. I want to hear more about their why. I want to actually connect with them and help them in their project. I even want to give them money to support what they're trying to achieve. It draws in that X factor, that extra bit that people want to genuinely follow that person. And it is I love the whole area of charisma and just showing up authentically. And I think a lot of people would be sitting there back where when people say, they've lost their voice or they can't find their voice, it's kind of like just going, I'm just sort of stuck in I don't know what everybody wants of me, and I therefore don't know what to say, how to say it. And I think one of those big leaps happen, and I'd love you to share if this has happened to you, is when you actually just go, I'm just going to step forward unapologetic. I'm just going to have to walk my own walk, and I'm going to have to be bold enough to fill out that form, take that action, have an opinion and back it, even if others don't, and champion causes that might be popular or might not, because they're important to you authentically. How have you found that transition journey from where you were to where you are now? What has been the biggest change for you to actually, what was the biggest change required for you to really step into your own executive presence, I suppose?
Well, it's interesting because I always tell people I love the Nike company because their motto is just do it. Whether you're successful or you're not, there's a learning curve. You are going to get tremendous amount of knowledge, expertise, etc., from learning, even if you did it the wrong way.
Yes.
So I worked at a university, and I started there as a project manager. And then within a very short period of time, I became director of the program to China and director of the career center and director. And then I was the first staff person to become an assistant vice president.
Right.
So, so what happened? I said yes. I did things that were hard for me to do. And yet I thought, somebody's got to do it, right? Somebody's got to step up to the plate and try it. And so that's kind of been what I've done for a long time. I try things. Somebody offers me things. I just got a new contract to do 16 TV shows for Bold Brave TV. Why? Because they saw an interview I did with Star Jones. How did I get Star Jones? Because I was nominated for Who's Who in America, Who's Who in Professional Women. It's like the stair step effect. But if you don't say yes to the first thing, you don't climb up stairs, right?
Exactly.
And you can't worry about, am I good enough? Am I perfect? Blah, blah, blah. that doesn't serve you well at all. You have to just do your best and say, what's the learning curve here? What's the message here that I need to learn? And then just keep learning and growing and moving, and knowing that when you step out, you help so many people that are afraid to.
Yeah.
And that's what, right? This is what happens. Why do I want to do this series of TV shows? Because I'll help those people that are sitting in their homes miserable, not leading happy lives because of body image, because of divorce, because of lack of wealth, all those reasons, not enough education. Everybody, I should have gone to college. I should have. And I say, stop shoulding on yourself and just try things, move yourself forward one step at a time. You know, you don't go from ground level to the top of the mountain in one jump. So just take your time, learn something new, move forward with it, and don't worry about what's behind you. Don't spend a lot of time saying, oh, this happened in the past. You can't change it. Just know it's part of your history and move forward. What did you learn from it? How can you move forward? That's all it is. It's not, you know, when I coach people to get jobs and they're telling me about that job they lost and how wonderful it was, but it's gone. And you can't change it. You could have been the best, you know, director, vice president, whatever, but the job is gone. So now you have to focus on what are your skills? What do you bring that next organization? That's all you have to focus on moving forward, not the past. Not the past. You can't do anything about it.
It's done. And I think there's so many gold nuggets in there. One of them is that we're always waiting for the right time. And so it can be, because of the finance, the circumstance, or the hurts before, whatever, and it just becomes consuming of your time and your energy, definitely in your mindset. It changes the narrative. It makes it angry often. And I love that it's actually just that decision to, you know, to make one step, you know. And I find that I'm the CEO of the Women's Business Incubator and the Women's Business Tribe, and those people, every person who actually enrolls in the Business Incubator, whether it's a startup program or a scale up or a dominate program, one of the first things they say to me is, oh, I've almost pressed the button so many times to enroll. Or the next thing they'll say is, oh, I hope I'm good enough. How do I compare with everybody else? Because no one wants to be the weakest link. Which is really funny, because I'm at that other end of life go, oh my gosh, I actually hope that I'm the weakest link in a room now, because I've got so much room to grow. So I don't want to, you know, where I used to be exactly where they were. And that's where another point of yours is, that it doesn't happen overnight, which is so important for them to know. Like, seriously, that's why I love doing this podcast, Memoirs of Successful Women, because you go, oh my gosh, it is such a journey. There's epic fails along the way. There's so much learning, so many tears, frustration, challenge, excitement. It's a cocktail of craziness, but as long as you're leaning forward, you know, you do get there, and then you do get these incredible success stories and success principles, which is what you've been sharing today. So I think that is normal. Those listening in at the moment thinking, yeah, I do that. I'm thinking, you know, how much time do you spend thinking about how wrong it was that this other person got that job, or that this other person is lucky because they got that opportunity? They might have been lucky, it might have been wrong, or sometimes it's just, it wasn't your time. It wasn't, you know, for a whole lot of reasons. And most of the times I actually look back now and go, there might not even be an answer to it. Might not be any sense, but it is important just to go, well, what can I do now? You know, and
maybe you didn't get it because something better is on its way.
Exactly. And we don't know that. We don't know what, you know, the world, the planet, the laws of attraction, where we're getting pulled. We don't know so many things. And that's exactly it. I've been to jobs and went, I nailed it and I didn't get it. So was there something wrong with me? Or did they actually choose wrong and they've made a mistake? Or was it that, you know, that's right, I'm so glad I didn't get it, because I actually got something 6 months later that was a really big surprise. Who's to know? What is important is, and that's what you're doing day in, day out, is actually telling people just to show up into what their future will benefit from, not from, you know, spending all of that time in the past. So you're now going to be an author in my book collaboration. Tell everybody, what are you going to be writing about? What's your chapter about? And what are some of the top tips that they're going to want to read about from you, without giving it all away, of course?
Yes, yeah. I don't want to do that, but delivering good human resources. Because it's really important. The human resource department in an organization really does a lot. Retaining good employees saves the company so much money. Retaining customers brings them so much money. You can't always be looking for what's new and what's out there. If you have good customers, keep them loyal. What are you going to do to keep them loyal? It's hard to find that new person all the time. It's hard to find that new employee, but you have to start training and they have to learn the jargon of your organization. There's a lot. You have to invest a lot in somebody new when you could spend time with the people that are there, make them feel heard, help them to do better jobs, pay attention to what they're doing. Sometimes people that are real superstars are already in your organization, but you're not paying attention. You're not giving them any chance to grow or to show what they know. And I've been very fortunate. I've worked for organizations that have said, hey, wait a minute, she's got a good idea. Let me give her some space to create that, to work that out. And that's amazing when you have somebody that notices that.
Yes.
Because, there are lots of employees in lots of organizations that could help that organization to really grow and bloom, and nobody's watching them. And so they don't try as hard. If nobody's going to say, go ahead, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
All right, well, why should I? If I don't get anybody to say, that's fantastic, let's run with it. How can we do that? No, So I think that that's a big piece that's often missing with companies. They would have, it's so much more profitable to make your employees good employees, to keep the good ones, and to keep those good customers, right? So that's what we're going to talk about in my chapter.
Oh, I'm looking forward to that a lot, because it is such an important ingredient to success. Your people are the core of your business, whatever you're selling, whatever product or service, it is all about the people. And sometimes I think a couple of things happen there. Sometimes it can be because you've got your team and it's a bit like a family. You then can sometimes just forget to tell the family how much you love them and how much you value them and how much you need them and how much they make you look better at times, and how that you're there for them. I think is there an element there of just taking for granted, what you've actually already got there? And then also there's often that, which is a very modern view, the grass is always greener. Someone else might be new, flashier. It's the chasing shiny things principle of, oh my goodness, so you've got this rock star person who's being devalued, who has just been committed to you for possibly years, sitting in your presence day in, day out, and then you get dazzled by someone else you saw and thought, I'm going to pay top dollar to try and get that person, who might or might not be great for your business, but they could be a star in their own right. But it doesn't mean that one star actually connects with the galaxy, right?
That's true. That's true. It's funny. I was telling somebody a story today. When I worked at the university, I had 2 admins, and I got to the point where I was going to 6 meetings a day. So I didn't spend a lot of time with them.
Yeah.
But so many of the faculty members would say, your admins are the best. Or I saw your admin helping a parent or helping a student find something. And so I got into the practice that when they came in on Friday mornings, there was a thank you note on the desk, on each of their desks, to thank them for something I had heard that they had done. And so even though I didn't see it directly, my admins were the best because they wanted to work. They were recognized. Even though I wasn't there, I was at meetings all the time. They knew that I knew how good they were. And so they wanted to be better. And they were fantastic. So it's so simple. What is it to write a few lines to somebody that's done a good job? It means the world to them. Because yes, you go to work and you get remuneration. You know, you get your check and that's it. But when somebody says, "Atta girl, you did a great job. Yeah, I can't believe you did that."
Yeah.
You know, and that's all it takes. That's all it takes.
Being valued, right? It's actually valuing that person, the fact that the valuing who they are, the way they approach their job, their skill set, their knowledge, the fact that they are an important member of the team. And I often find that, you know, in my role, you know, I get to write CEO reports to my board, and it's really important. And I tell my staff, who just make me look better all the time, and are just doing seriously so much of the work, that I go, you know, although it comes in a report, I'll go and say the education section is on behalf of, you know, that staff member has been amazing. Nice. They've achieved this, you know, otherwise it just looks like Annie does everything. And you've got team who go, "Oh, great," you know, like, so, because they also go, she's off at lunches and meetings and doing this other thing, which is hard to measure. And so it is so important. And I just think it's going to be such an important chapter for people to realize the value of the team. And because a lot of sort of topics in business are going to leap out, you know, everyone wants to be great at marketing. They obviously want to do sales. They want to be innovative. They want to have the best cutting edge technology, these sorts of things. But it's no point if you actually don't have your core right. And your core, as you scale, which is what you will notice when you're your own person, then you can do all of those things. As soon as you start to grow, this is where this conversation, this is why your chapter is going to be of such value, because, you know, you can't do it all yourself. You're going to burn yourself out. You're then going to have to start picking that team. So how do you therefore approach picking that team? You know, so do you usually, you know, as an expert in recruitment, if you like, you know, most people will go and say, well, you've got to go out on the theory principles of, you know, go out to the broader market with the skill set, with the knowledge, or executive searches. But then I look at your resume and you're actually saying, okay, well, I actually make people who didn't even have a job achieve their dream job. So, you know, is it actually the nurturing and helping them find their way? How do they find that dream job when others are using sort of recruitment companies and headhunters and so forth? What's your secret sauce there, Angela?
Well, the mindset piece makes such a difference. You know, I've worked with executives that are making $500,000 a year and they lose their job and they immediately think they're nobody. I don't have a title. I don't have this big check coming in. And how do you bring them to the point where, hey, let's look at your accomplishments. They're not going to go away.
Yeah.
You still did all those things. So getting them into the right mindset and then starting to look at what's really important to you. Now, some people are really good at that creative piece. Mm-hmm. And so they need to be in an environment where they can create new things, you know, new rules, new marketing, whatever it is, they create new all the time. Mm-hmm. But they may not know how to do the stair-step piece. So I always tell people, if you're a leader in business, you want to have a staff meeting, let's say. If you have a big idea, put it out there and say, next staff meeting, we're going to talk about it. What that does is it gives the introverts in the room a chance to go out and really think of it introspectively and come up with solutions. It gives the extroverts in the room a chance to go in the hall and talk to each other and come up with great ideas, because that's where they are. Both groups will come up with great ideas, but they come up with them from totally different perspectives. And if you're running a meeting and you want answers right now, you have totally annihilated all the introverts. That's not how they think.
Yeah.
They have fantastic ideas. Give them a chance to process. And, you know, things like that, I look at that as so simple. We'll talk about it next week, or we'll meet in 2 days, whatever it is. It's so simple. But if I'm here as the leader and I want to take the department into a new area and I'm so excited about this idea, and what are we going to do? Let's talk about it now.
They're not ready.
They're not ready. And they have great ideas. And a lot of them, if they're also a sensing personality, will give you all the stair steps, all the little details for getting there. The big picture people are floating around here. They've got lots of ideas, forward thinking. They don't have the stair steps. That's not their personality. You need that combination of both the introverts and the extroverts, the people that are sensing, the people that are big thinkers, creative. You have to build teams that have a combination. If you don't, you're lopsided, right?
Yeah.
You're lopsided. If you have a lot of really quiet people that aren't moving the organization forward, they're doing a lot of good work, but they don't have the next big idea. Yeah. Or you have a lot of big idea people that have no idea how we're going to get there, but boy, is it a great idea. So having that balance, if you're in charge of hiring people, look at how they are. Find the people and create a balanced team. I think it's so important. I have studied personality. I'm a Myers-Briggs facilitator. I think it's vital to understand that. You don't have to study Myers-Briggs or personality or anything. Just know that people that are very extroverted and creative need the balance of the people that are quiet.
Yes.
Great ideas, and they'll tell you about them individually. They'll tell you about them tomorrow. You know what I mean? It's like, it's beautiful when you get that team working together. It's absolutely beautiful. But if you don't pay attention to it, you've lost a lot. Yeah. Your organization either isn't going to move forward or it isn't going to get to the big idea ever because nobody's getting you there. You don't have those stair steps, right? Everybody's floating.
Exactly. I often think that if my teams were all like me, we'd be just so hyper and so just out there. But then I often go, which is really fun. Hey, it's a fun party, but no one's dotting your I's. No one's making, those really important, policies, procedures, how to actually do things. I rely on those people. I get to do my role in my way. Of course, they're actually doing that, and they're of equal value. That's the interesting thing, that none of us can really achieve our dreams without that breadth. And I love the way you've explained that in the context of a team, because I will actually look at that the same as on a board, so in boards are known for being, the more diverse of thinking and ideas and different sort of personalities. In fact, if you actually have a robust discussion and there's even a bit of dissent, that's actually seen as a very healthy modern board, because at the end of the day, it is a team, and it's what your own team is. And even in, if you apply this principle even to families and friendship groups, it's the same sort of principles that you actually want to encourage the diversity, but also being able to give what's required to get the best out of that diversity, which, as you said, for some people, it is actually time. It's actually just a safe environment to realize that if I say something and it's embarrassing or if it's a fail, there's not negative repercussions because of that, right?
And knowing how to compliment that person that's quiet, that had the good idea.
Yeah.
But not in a crowd.
Yes, not in front of others. Not in front of others.
Right. I think it's valuable to know that. And I tell my students, if you want a long-term relationship, look at how many elements of personality that are the same with your partner. It doesn't mean, like, say one's an introvert, one's an extrovert, you're both intuitive. Well, that's great, but that's only one element. Yeah. So now it doesn't mean you can't have a relationship, but you will always have to work at it.
Yes. Yes.
Right? And if somebody has 2 or 3 elements that are the same, it's like when you meet somebody that you feel you've known forever. It's because the elements of personality are so similar to yours. Like, you immediately start talking, you're immediately connected to them, you're immediately comfortable with them because they have the same elements of personality. And it's great when you start looking at that and saying, wow, this is really a good thing. I can really relate to this person. So it's fun.
I think another element that I've noticed, and I'd love to have your opinion on that too, is sometimes we get it wrong. Sometimes we've employed someone a part-timer, there was pressure, that you heard their story, it was a bit sad, or now you need a full-timer, and you go, oh, okay, well, I'll give it to that person, even though maybe even your gut felt probably not right, or possibly would have been better if it was two different people, two different roles, and so forth. So we make mistakes, if you like, in recruitment. And so my learning is, before, when I was younger and sweeter, I'd go, oh, I'd feel for it and I'd try and suffer through it more. Whereas now, I'm a seasoned professional, I just go and say, it's not working. It's not working for me, but it's also then not going to work for them, because I'm all about getting the win-win, the best for the organization, the best for your own business, and actually the best for that person, because if it's not working, it's actually, they deserve to be in a better place. It's just that it's awkward, it's uncomfortable, it's painful. There's relationships, there's emotions, there's possibly risk. Will they get that other job? You know, have you found that in your career as an expert in this area, that, you know, it's actually better to be open about those sort of conversations, those awkward conversations, and to try and, you know, realize that you're focusing on the end goal, which is the win-win, rather than the, you know, trying to make things work from a employee perspective.
Yes, but you want them to be comfortable, you know, and it's hard to be let go, right?
Oh,
So I think I would start the conversation with, how are you feeling about this position? What is it you like about it? What do you feel you're contributing to it? Like, talk to them.
yes.
And, you know, they may say, I just needed a job, you know?
Yeah.
I just needed a job. I had a situation where I was given a job as director of a tutoring center, and they said, well, your first job is to fire that assistant director. So with my personality, I went through the entire university, found another place for her in the university. And it wasn't that she wasn't good. They just didn't want to pay for a director and an assistant.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I found several opportunities that she could get into and keep her benefits and everything. And so it was like the good news and the bad news. So the bad news is I have to let you go. But the good news is, call this person or this person.
Wow.
They have work for you. You know, so it depends on your approach to things.
Yeah.
You know, if you can help them find something that they're more suitable for. A lot of times we have friends and we know this person's personality.
Exactly.
And, you know, if we have a friend that has a company that could use them in a capacity that's different from the way we were trying to use them, and it wasn't working out, then you refer them, you know, you help network for them.
Try and make it happen. Oh my goodness. We could talk and talk and talk. Just, I'd love you to finish our conversation with your interview with Star Jones. Tell us a little bit about what that was like, and also, you know, that's right, what opportunities you already mentioned. Now you've got this TV show coming up. So tell us about, what was that like, and were you pinching yourself?
I was. Well, Star Jones partnered with Who's Who in America. So, and Warren Buffett is another partner. So anyway, Star Jones has a TV show that she, I think it's called Star Effects, and she interviews people. So the people with Who's Who in America said, hey, we have somebody we'd like you to interview. And so I had the opportunity to interview with her, and it was so much fun. At the end of the interview, she said to me, I feel like I was talking to my best friend.
Oh, what a compliment.
So much fun. We had so much fun. And, you know, she too asked me about Jack Canfield and the books I'm writing and the women's group and all, you know, all these diverse things. And then she kind of ended the interview by saying to me, so what's your message? Or what message do you want to leave the world? And I said, celebrate your uniqueness. And that's really what I try to do, whether I'm teaching a class, whether I'm helping somebody find a job, whatever it is, celebrate who you are. You're not supposed to be anybody else. Look at the good, dig deep inside yourself. What are your talents? And if you are so many people can't do technology. They're not hardwired for it, and they're begging for help. If you're good at technology, find somebody to help. Yeah. I'm writing a book on clutter clearing. There are so many people that are all shades of hoarding in this world.
Yes.
You know, and if now I don't say you go to somebody's house and say, hey, I can help you. No. But if somebody's saying, I'm so overwhelmed, help them. If you're good at it, just help them. You will appreciate yourself more. They will appreciate you more. They'll appreciate themselves more because you're really helping to get them into the right place. So valuing who you are as a person, stepping into your skin and loving the person you are. And you're pushing yourself to become better all the time. I think that's the key. Like if you're stuck, go do something. You know, if you feel like you don't have enough money, go give $10 to somebody who has less than you do. Go swing a hammer for Habitat for Humanity. Go do something for somebody that has less than you. And you will feel so good about who you are. The other person, you want to feel good, become a volunteer somewhere.
Yeah.
Because they love you. You know, you're not asking for money. You're bringing your talent. Or even if you're not a talented hammer swinger, you're still going. You're giving your energy. And you're helping other people. So I think that that's a piece that often people go back into the good enough. You are. Help somebody that has less than you.
Yes.
And it doesn't have to be, I don't have to start a scholarship for $10,000. It can be, I can help a student. I can tutor them for free.
Yeah.
I can give help. I can just correct a paper and show them how to do that. Whatever it is, it doesn't have to be a big deal, but those, you know, little tiny steps turn into a big deal. And I tell everybody, look at your arm. You have a hand at the end of the arm. What's this hand for? To pull the next generation up. I think we forget that. We're so busy complaining about the next generation. It's up to us to help them up, to teach them some things and to help them to love life. If you're a parent, the very best thing you can do for your children is to love your own life. It gives them permission to love theirs. I think people are forgetting those simple things in life. Very simple.
Simple, but so vital. And I love that. Celebrate your uniqueness. That's what it's about. We're all different. We're all quirky, edgy, fun, sometimes a bit boring, but that's who I am. Whatever it is, just love it, embrace it. If you're in a rut, that's right. I love that. Words of wisdom from Angela today. Actually, just put your hand out and help someone else. And while you're doing that, suddenly your focus will change. You know, you'll feel gratitude for what you've actually got. You'll then see new opportunities that will then create opportunities for you. They don't have to, but they generally do. You know, by putting yourself, attaching yourself. I find that when people join the Women's Business Tribe, they just suddenly go, oh my gosh, like someone helped me, or someone said something lovely to me and I didn't even ask for it. And you go, yeah, because they're appreciating, they're in a better situation. We're on a different stage of our journey, right? And people are there to help you. People are there to bless you. And then there's also ridiculous opportunities for people to succeed. And I think your journey and your story today has actually just been really powerful in showing us that, you know, a woman who just dared to say, oh, maybe I should tell someone that I'd be interested in doing something with them or helping them can actually be a decision that changes your life. Did it then require a lot of work and effort and energy and, you know, moments of feeling uncomfortable? Yes, many, but learning curve, fun, you love the skin you're in and you're an absolute star. So thank you so much for being on my program today, Angela.
Thank you, Annie. This has been wonderful. I appreciate it. And can't wait to write this book with you.
Yay! Thanks so much for listening to this episode of Memoirs of Successful Women. You can find me at anniegibbins.com, where you can download my free resources, get connected on social, and check out my online magic transformation program. If you love this show, feel free to subscribe to future episodes and, of course, share it with your friends. I'll see you again soon, and until then, happy podcasting.